everybody, my name is Bragster and welcome back to another episode of F1 Manager, the penultimate episode of the series. That's right, after this, all we'll have is the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, but that's next episode, that's next week's focus. This week is all about the Mexican Grand Prix and the Sao Paulo Grand Prix. We've already played through the Mexican Grand Prix, and it was a real Jekyll and Hyde race. We had some high moments and we had some low moments, and to be honest with you, I should have done a lot better. Connor, take them through it. Right, so going into this race, these are the targets that we set. It's the usual targets that you see from us. And then we got into qualifying, and to be honest with you, it went reasonably well. And our car's not up to scratch on the same level as a lot of the other cars at the moment. We'll talk about how other cars have outdeveloped us recently later on. But the fact that in this one, we managed to get both drivers into Q2, and Ocon was actually the one that missed out, which was crazy for me to see. But then it came to the end of Q2. Danny Rick getting 14th, a decent position for Danny Rick, and Norris managed to eke out the Alpine, similar to Danny Rick eking out the Alpine earlier, to get to Q3. However, as the story for Q3 goes on, it's the fact that we cannot get above 10th in Q3. Unfortunately for us, our car is just not good enough to do so. It's a shame, but it's the best we can do. But given a bunch of penalties, it gave us 6th and 10th starting positions, with Danny Rick going from softs to hards and from Norris going from mediums to hards. So we were going for one-stop strategies with both drivers. And at the start of this race, we actually started off reasonably well, especially with Danny Rick. Norris lost the position to Bottas very early on, but Danny Rick overtaking Gasly, overtaking Mick Schumacher, and going right behind Norris in the McLaren. He rose from 10th to 8th. It was lovely, lovely start from the boys, and what it was an even better start was the fact that the two Ferraris crashed into each other, took out Perez as well. It was wonderful to see, and Sainz was out of this race. We were thinking this could be an incredible race for us. Those are a lot of the competitors at this top, and at this point, given the start from Norris and Danny Rick leaving us in 4th and 5th, we thought we would be in a good position, and it got even better as the Red Bull got hit yet again, and we had even more people out of the race. Out goes George Russell, out goes Perez. That is 3 of the big six, really, the big 6 drivers going out this early. And we were thinking, right, here we go, podium is on the cards. We knew we could do it. This one-stop strategy, we knew it could work. And it was going to work even better when people around us were locking up. As you can see the lock up there, you can see the McLarens go past. It was lovely, absolutely lovely to see. And then we could see this crash. For whatever reason, it just didn't crash into us. I don't know how they didn't crash into us there, because they tried to go around us and it just did not work for them. As you can see there, Danny Rick overtaking Bottas, going into 2nd place. We were in a prime position for a podium at this point, but we couldn't get a replay. For whatever reason, we didn't get a replay. But Lando Norris did crash. He crashed into Zhou, ended up getting a time penalty as well. It was not ideal for us, and we knew from here on out it would be a struggle to have Lando Norris in the top of this grid, just simply because with that time penalty, we were not going to be in a good way. As you can see, Hamilton there overtaking Danny Rick. After a couple of pit stops here and there, Hamilton was able to overtake us, and we did end up pitting Danny Rick, and it was a reasonably quick pit stop. It was really, really good for us, and we ended up coming out in a really, really good position. we were thinking, this is it. This is Danny Rick's time. Danny Rick is absolutely smashing this right now. He's coming out in 7th. A bunch of people above us haven't pitted yet. We were like, this is our time to shine. We don't ever have to pit again. The person who does have to pit, though, was Lando Norris, who had to serve his time penalty, replace his front wing as that had minor damage to it. And Lando Norris, as you can see on that left-hand side, is just tumbling down the grid. He ended up coming out in 12th, and from then on out, we knew it was going to be a tall order to get any points with Lando Norris, but we're still reasonably confident that we could actually do so. As you could see there, unfortunately, Danny Rick getting overtaken once again, and it just kept, that was kind of the theme really, was the overtakes to Danny Rick, as we just saw another crash there for the Gasly. And here was a big issue as well. Lando Norris's engine was in a critical way, and that was a shame really. I think that dampened what Lando Norris could do from here on out. And that also dampened what Lando Norris could do, as Lando Norris got held up because of a spin by Zhou. And as you can see there, Danny Rick getting overtaken by Leclerc, who pitted yet again, this time for the softs, thinking that he was going to get overtaken by us and really struggle. Instead, he ended up thriving, and Danny Rick just kept tumbling down. He got overtaken twice there by 2 different drivers, and we were all the way down in 8th. We were finishing our final lap, hoping, praying if we pushed on these hard tyres, something could happen. But no, nothing could happen. And that was a big problem. And instead, we ended up finishing in 8th. Lando Norris, with his terrible engine, finishing in 11th. And not a good way. We thought a podium would be on the cards, especially with those crashes, but it didn't happen. And unfortunately for us, that means that in the Constructors, we are falling behind Mercedes and just staying in that 4th spot. Right, so now you've seen the Mexican Grand Prix and you understand my disappointment. We're here at the Sao Paulo Grand Prix, the Brazilian Grand Prix, which is actually a reasonably long one. It's 71 laps. These 2 races in this episode are both 71 laps, so there's time for things to go wrong, but there's only a 67% chance of a safety car, so maybe there might not be any drama, and there's not any rain either, so it's going to be difficult for us, because if I show you this, I don't usually show you stuff like this, but if you look at this, our car we've been outdeveloped incredibly. We've been outdeveloped massively by the other teams, and yeah, we're in a real bad way. And I focused on research for next season because I was playing it as if I was playing the game for another season. Obviously, this series does end after this season, but I was like, right, we're going to develop the car in this way, and whatever. And if you look at this current projects, we're researching stuff for the front and rear wing. Yeah, I've really messed this up towards the latter half of this season, so I'm going to need to take some risks with strategy. What we are going to do, though, is we are still going to put the finished position stuff up, and the finished position streak, we're going to make it difficult again. We're going to put it at both drivers to get in the top 10, because if that's the way we're going to earn money, that's the way we're going to earn money. But yeah, it's a difficult one for sure. But I still believe in our drivers. I think Danny Rick and Lando Norris are incredible on this game. So fingers crossed they can do something for me. Right, so we're into our first flying laps in Q1. And unfortunately, along with a lot of other drivers, we've had to take a penalty. We've had to install a new engine. I probably would have mentioned it beforehand, as it was the main reason for why Norris really couldn't make up a lot of places. So we've had to install a new engine on both of them, which means they should both be better, but it also means that they are, unfortunately, going to have to take a grid penalty, and I think it's 5 places. So we've got to hope at least one of these 2 ends up in Q3, otherwise we are screwed. Into our flying laps to finish Q1, and we should be okay. We are faster than the Williamses, we are faster than the Aston Martins. It's just hoping we're faster than somebody else, as there's a yellow flag in Sector 2, so this might actually stop people from putting out a better time. So there's been a spin, it's slowed it has span, and it has meant that there are yellow flags. So if that's affected other drivers, the likes of Leclerc, who is currently in trouble, then this could be a really interesting session. But I'm worried it might have only really affected us, and I hope that's not the case. Yeah, it definitely hasn't affected Leclerc. Leclerc's actually put out a really good time. Ricciardo's actually in trouble, although Tsunoda's finished below, so he should be okay because the Williamses aren't going to better us. That wasn't the best session for us, but you have to remember that, you know, we did go out on used softs at the end of this session, so hopefully it's a sign of that. And we did have yellow flags, remember, in that flying lap, so maybe it's a sign of that, and hopefully we don't have both drivers eliminated in the next session. There's been yellow flags on the flying lap in Q2. I was just about to talk through it, and then we got some yellow flag alerts because Verstappen actually locked up. Which isn't great for him, because that's the flying lap right there for Verstappen. So I want to see where he is. Verstappen's currently bottom, so I think Verstappen is going to get eliminated in Q2, which is reasonably exciting because that means that we're probably going to be above him despite that. But unfortunately, again, it slowed us down because of that, and we're currently not in a good way whatsoever. So we're going to need it to be thick and fast, but I think it would have slowed us down so much that we're just not going to be able to make up that time, unfortunately. Verstappen has been eliminated in 15th there. And unfortunately, Norris didn't improve his time, so both drivers are going to go out in Q2. I think this is just showing how poor our car is now in comparison to everybody else. It's really a massive step behind. I have massively mucked up the development of this car and these drivers, and it's meant that we're not going to get third in the constructors. Yeah, so as you can see, there's a bunch of people with grid penalties going into this one, with Lando Norris and Ricciardo being one of them, but unfortunately Verstappen does not have any penalties, so that's annoying really, because I was hoping he would, so he would stay behind us, but I don't think that's going to happen now, and it's just dependent on how big are everyone else's grid penalties in comparison to ours. So we're here just before the race, and here are the strategies we're going for. We're starting off in 14th and 17th in this race. Not good whatsoever because of our own grid penalties. Luckily, we won't have to take one in the final race of the season. Hopefully, some other drivers do, so we can kind of make up some points and make that really exciting there. But for this race, we are doing the same strategy of softs, hards, and mediums, but we're doing it one way with one driver and the reverse with the other driver. It's quite simple, really. With Ricciardo, we're going softs, hards, mediums. With Norris, we're going mediums, hards, softs. I was going to switch it no matter what with either driver. I just felt that Ricciardo starting in 17th is going to need that push early on to get through the likes of the Vettels and stuff like that, the Aston Martins and the Williamses. Whereas Norris is going to be fighting with people that are on a similar car, like a similar car to us. So at mediums, he should be able to make up some ground given the fact that he's a good driver. And then right at the end, we can make a push with him for the softs. I don't know how it's going to work. I only think one of these strategies is going to work and end up in the top 10. But we might need some safety cars to come our way. And our drivers not to lock up, crash, spin or anything. It's going to take some effort from the boys.
And it's lights out.
Here we go. Brilliant. Right. Let's start off by looking at Danny Rick and seeing what's happening here. Russell's starting back of the grid with the amount of penalties he's had to take. So I was right with Ricciardo. He is going to have to go through the Williamses, and he's already gotten through the Tiffy early on here. Norris, however, is fighting with a bunch of people who are, a few that are on softs. He's fighting with the Mick Schumachers, the Joes, people that we fought with the entire season. So to be honest with you, we're okay here. We did see the Latifi overtake. We're hoping he can take Albon pretty early on here. Because if he can do it in like the first lap, and then we can have him and Norris push it up together, that'll be really nice. We can kind of do what we did last time, which is have Norris let Ricciardo overtake him when we have enough space for him to do so. and then we can have Ricciardo pull along Norris for a little bit. That's the hope anyways, as it looks like Danny Rick's going to try and overtake Albon here, but it's not managed to work, unfortunately, which is quite annoying, but he is going to manage to do it here. There we go. Danny Rick has managed to overtake the Williamses early on. That was the plan. That was the reason we went on to the softs, and now he can start chasing down Norris and try and get in with this pack here. Because none of us really have a clue what's going to happen with this pack and with Norris. Our car's not the best, so it's going to be interesting for sure. If you have a look at the tyres, the only people starting off on softs are Verstappen, Mick Schumacher, Ricciardo and Stroll. Everyone else has started off on the mediums, so I wonder if a bunch of them are going to finish off on the softs, which is exactly what Norris is doing. So, you know, there's no need to panic just yet, especially in the first couple of laps. You know, with DRS, we might actually be able to do something with these boys. And now Ricciardo's caught up and dropped Albon. We're in a really good way here. We're going to tell Norris not to fight his teammate and let Ricciardo pass. We've got the room to do so, so we've let it happen there. And it's a nice switcheroo by the lads, and it's not allowed Russell to get back in, which is huge for us, really. That's what I like to see. So now Norris is using Ricciardo. Tsunoda's now ran wide twice, and not once has it ever mattered. So that's good to see. But a competitor has spun. That might be able to matter, actually. As Latifi span. It doesn't matter. Right, so George Russell, who started back on the grid on mediums, is doing better than Ricciardo on the softs. If that doesn't show how much I've mucked up developing this car, I have absolutely no idea. Because that shouldn't happen in a million years, really. Unless the mediums have been well worn in, but it's only been a few laps, so it really shouldn't have been that way. Now Russell has overtaken Norris. Norris, for whatever reason, overtook Ricciardo before Russell started catching up. I don't know how that happened or why that happened, but it did happen. And now Russell has overtaken both of them. So we are going to struggle for points. Right, so there's been a crash. Alonso did crash. I don't know to what extent he crashed, but he has crashed. We're going to see it here. It's a good crash for us because Alonso is all the way up here. So if he does have to pit, that would be amazing for us, but we are literally waiting to see if he does enter the pits because he is slowed down massively because of that crash. And to update you, Alonso did have to enter the pits. He has had to enter. I think he might have done some damage to his front wing, so that's going to set him back massively. So that's going to help us, but the problem is we've still got all of these boys to catch up with, and we just can't do it. This car isn't good enough to do it, so... And our strategy isn't that different. It's not working the way we expected, especially with Ricciardo. So I really don't know what to do. Right, so Zhou has span. Zhou is reasonably high up by the looks of things. And he span and unfortunately stopped Norris from going past. So now Norris is in a terrible position because he massively dropped behind. We are getting incredibly unlucky in these last couple of races when it comes to crashes and stuff affected us negatively. It's annoying to say the least, but we are going to pit Ricciardo for the hards. It hasn't worked.
Box this lap.
It hasn't worked whatsoever with him. I would actually try, but I've given up with Norris. I've given up on Ricciardo. It's all on Norris, but even Norris isn't doing that well. We're going to need a miracle to get points in this race. Well, one of those miracles, we're going to need plenty of them, but one of them is apparently that Bottas has crashed, and that has damaged his car, so you'd suspect that he's going to have to pit earlier than he wanted to. He's currently on the mediums, is Bottas, and his tyres are screwed, so he is going to have to pit, and he's in the pits now, so... That's good for us, because that is going to bring Bottas miles down. But we're going to need more miracles like that. We're going to need far more. Right, so that pit for Danny Rick has put him in 17th. It's not the worst position in the world, but let's be honest, it's not exactly where we wanted him. So, yeah, Danny Rick's going to have a lot of miracles. Maybe we're going to need a safety car for Danny Rick to get back into this. Whereas Norris, you know, as much as I've criticised the man, He's still in there, he's still hanging in there, and he does go on the softs at the end of this race. So he might have a chance of getting some points. Ricciardo's going to need a safety car. I mean, I won't complain about a safety car if we have that in favour of Norris, but let's be honest, knowing our luck at the moment, if there's a safety car, it'll be Norris crashing into Zhou or something stupid like that. Right, so Norris is in the pits. This is the first time Norris is in the pits. We did really push on Norris to try and catch up with everybody else. So it's going to be interesting to see where he comes out here. Because it looks like he's going to come out above Tsunoda and Zhou. Which is brilliant to see. So we were projected to come out in 17th with that pit stop, but instead we've ended up coming out in a really, really good position. We've ended up coming out in 13th, so that's not bad really. And Danny Rick, in fairness, is only like a second or so behind. So Danny Rick on the hard might be able to catch up a little bit with Norris. So maybe this isn't the end of the world, but we're definitely still going to need some sort of virtual safety car or safety car at some point that benefits us. Safety car! There's a safety car. I said we needed one. It's not really going to benefit us, but we said we needed one. We're not going to pit because what is the point? DRS has been disabled. We are going to just harvest everything, conserve everything. Tsunoda's retired. What in the world's happened here? Tsunoda crashed on turn 1, trying to overtake Danny Rick actually. So he's tried to overtake Danny Rick. He's ended up locking up and going straight into the wall. That didn't look as bad as the other crashes, but unfortunately for Tsunoda, this is it. This is the end of his race. So that is one less person we have to worry about. We wanted miracles. That's another miracle. So, come on. We need more of that. More crashes that don't involve us, please. Right, so now there's a safety car. No one's going to overtake each other. So we can skip forwards here and kind of see what's going to happen. So it's going to bunch everyone back up. And I think everyone's pretty much going to be on the hards because I think everyone did pit for hards anyway. So there are a few people on mediums, but on fresh mediums. So everyone had already pitted, so that's benefited absolutely nobody, which is fortunate for us because if it's not going to benefit us, then it benefiting nobody is a really good help for us. And it's also helped the fuel problem that we had with Norris as well. So the safety car is going to end this lap. We are going to push and pretend this is the restart of the race. Because we can do that. We've managed to conserve everything so much. We've got that ability. But we are literally waiting on Verstappen to lead the line. Normal race conditions have resumed. And eventually we've managed to restart. And Danny Rick and Norris are now fighting it out. And Danny Rick, for the first time in this race, actually looks like doing something. And it's against our own driver. I don't think that's what I wanted. I don't want our two drivers battling it out and causing each other to crash. We need them to get away from each other a little bit and get above Alonso, who's currently causing both of our drivers a problem. If they could double team Alonso, that would be great, as they kind of do actually double team Alonso. They did. They double teamed Alonso. So Ricciardo managed to distract Alonso, let Norris through, and then that distraction alone allowed Ricciardo back through. I want to rewatch that because that was absolutely beautiful to watch. Our two drivers streamlined against each other. Alonso didn't know what to do. We pushed him out the way, and then that just allowed both of our drivers to overtake him. This is a good restart for us. This is much better than the start we had at the actual start of the race. So more of this, please, lads. This is brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Lando Norris managing to overtake. I think it's Mick Schumacher who managed to overtake there. And so is Ricciardo. You can't see it in there because Ricciardo did take a while to overtake, but Ricciardo did eventually overtake him. That is beautiful. And to absolutely everybody's surprise, Lando Norris is in the top 10. He's managed to overtake Gasly. We're in actually a decent position. I was going to say a good position. We've been in much better positions than this, but especially with Lando Norris, because Lando Norris is currently on the hards and he's going onto the softs later on. And if no one else really goes onto the softs, anyone that doesn't, he can then overtake and absolutely wipe the floor with towards the end of this race, which is brilliant. So if he's doing the job on the hards, what is he going to do on the softs? And this is great to see too. Danny Rick also managing to overtake Gasly. That's what we like to see. Norris managing to shun out Gasly as Gasly tried to overtake Norris, and instead Gasly ended up losing the position to Danny Ric. Again, brilliant stuff by both of our drivers. They're actually working together, which we've never really seen in this series. As much as Danny Ric overtaking Norris was a positive, and I know we didn't show you that, but that happened literally just before this happened, which is Zhou overtaking Norris. Unfortunately, that Alfa Romeo car is a reasonably fast one, so we're going to struggle to keep that 10th position. I said we were going to struggle to keep that 10th place, and we have, because Zhou has overtaken Danny Ric. We're in a little bit of trouble here. Yeah, with Norris, I'm not too concerned, as I said, because of the softer tyres. But with Ricciardo, if I want to get both drivers in the top 10, we're going to need a bigger push from Ricciardo, and he doesn't have anything to push on. Danny Ric is actually becoming a really annoying, like, ex-boyfriend at this point, right? Every time I fall back in love with this man, he makes mistake after mistake and just keeps disappointing me. Honestly, I just don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. I keep bringing my faith back into Danny Ric, and then he rips my heart out. Right, we're into the second grade of pit stops, and somehow Ricciardo's... Oh, Russell span. How did Russell spin? Russell's in the pits. What in the world's gone on here? So Russell, just before going in the pits, must have spun. That is the weirdest timing of a spin I've ever seen. But if you look at this, a bunch of people have pitted, and they've pitted for the hard. So it seems like a few people might have gone like mediums, hards, or something like that. So now, Norris and Danny Ric are in the top 10 people. I'm struggling for words, right, with Danny Ric at this point. Because, yet again, he overtook Gasly again and ended up doing really well. And I was lost a position to Mick Schumacher and also Gasly, because Gasly also decided to overtake him. So, yeah, Danny Ric, eh? Brilliant driver. Right, so the story of this is Zhou and Norris overtaking one another, one after the other. And currently, Norris is in front of Zhou in 6th. So we're in a good position with Norris. We've got to basically try and get as far forward as possible. So when we pit and go onto the softs, we end up coming out in the top 10. And we can push further up the top 10 rather than fighting for a top 10 place. Right, so it's optimal pit stop time with Danny Ric. So that is exactly what we're going to do. We're going to pit him right now for the mediums. I think everything's been going well. Yeah, he's been going at the exact pace that we wanted him to. So we need Danny Ric, who's currently in this 10th position, but fighting with everybody. And he seems to be trying to overtake Ocon at the moment. He is currently going to be going into the pits, onto the mediums. And when is he expected to come out? He's expected to come out in 17th. Which is not great, as Zhou overtakes Norris, but as I said, them two just keep swapping at the moment. So I'm not too concerned with that one, especially when you look at the fact that they've both got similar tyre lengths as well. So I'm not too concerned with that one, although I would really like it if Norris did pull ahead. Right, so Danny Ric, he is in the pits right now. He was predicted to come out 17th. He's going on to the mediums. Where is he going to come out? Because this is incredibly important. But that was a really fast pit stop, by the way. 2.2 seconds of a pit stop. He's coming out currently in 14th. So that's not the end of the world, actually. He's ended up in a decent-ish position. So I'm not too concerned with that one. Although, to get into that top 10, that's going to be tough. Danny Ric does definitely 100% need another safety car. I don't want to excite people, but Norris is in the top 3. Zhou's pitted for mediums. He didn't pit for softs, he pitted for mediums, whereas we're pitting for the softs. So we're currently fighting with Zhou, and it's about coming out in this top 10. So come on, Norris, push a little bit harder. Maybe, just maybe we can do this. Right, so there's a problem with Lando Norris. There's a train from Sainz all the way down to Magnussen. That is a massive problem, because we've got to pit again, and I don't think those boys will have to pit again, which is really annoying, because we're in a terrible position then, because we're going to have to push really hard on those softs to even stand a chance of getting the top 10 finish. I thought we were going to be fine and maybe get higher up this grid. But no, we are losing time and losing time fast. This is not good. I'm going to pit him a lap earlier. I made the executive decision to pit Norris 1 lap earlier for these softs. There is absolutely 0 point of doing what we're doing right now. So he's possibly going to come out in 15th, and we're going to need him to fight. Absolutely claw and fight his way. We need Norris to basically keep up with these guys, not lose these positions, and go into the pit and then see where he comes out. Danny Rick is currently just in a fight with Mick Schumacher. I've actually given up on Danny Rick. If I talk about Danny Rick any longer, I might actually cry. Lando Norris, where are you going to come out, mate? He's on to the softs. He's coming out of the pits now. This is not good. He is going to come out in like 15th, isn't he? It's good. The prediction's going to be right. The prediction was right. He's out in 15th. We're in trouble. I'm just saying it now. We are in a hell of a lot of trouble. Yeah, this is going to be 2 really bad races on the bounce. Safety car, 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 safety car. Give me a safety car. Give me a safety car. Give it to me. Give me a safety car. Multiple cars have crashed. Safety car! Come on! I don't know. I haven't got a clue who's crashed. Major front wing damage. It's Danny Rick! Of course it is. Of course it's Danny Rick that crashed. Of course it's Danny Rick that crashed. Right, brilliant. So we needed a safety car to get back in this race, and then Danny Rick's the one that causes it.
Safety
right.
deployed, safety.
What are we meant... Oh, genuinely, Right, we're just going to pause it for a second. I haven't got a clue what happened. What in the world's just happened? Front wings got major damage, so we're going to have to pit Ricardo. Right. We're going to have to pit Ricardo. But what in the world do we pit him for? Do we... This is... Right. Can we go on to softs? Have we got any softs that are going to make it to the end of this race? Do we? Do we? Yes, we do. Right, let's get him on the softs right now, because this is the only hope we've got with Danny. Why am I hoping with Danny Rick? We were screwed anyway with Danny Rick. What chance do we have? Oh, my days. Right, front wing damage. So we're going to have to replace that. We're going to have to replace that. Brilliant. Pit stop. Right, we can restart the thing, because I needed just time to think. Safety car, no overtaking permitted.
That's Schumacher.
Schumacher's out the race. Right, so what in the world happened here? So Danny Rick's here. He's overtaking or getting overtaken. And then, oh, so it's the Haas that crashed into me. Danny Rick, I apologise, mate. I apologise because I completely thought it was your fault. But no, Mick Schumacher, the absolute idiot, decided to crash into Danny Rick and ruin... I mean, Danny Rick's race was ruined anyway, but it's super duper ruined now. So now it's on Lando Norris. Lando Norris, mate, no pressure, but the entire race is on you. I'm just telling you now, the entire race is on you. We had a pit stop with Danny Rick. Danny Rick's out in 16th. He's going to be behind the Aston Martins and stuff. Yeah, he's here. He's done a thing. It's fine. We're more focused on Lando Norris, let's be honest. So we're kind of going to see, especially with how long this safety car is going to be, because there's so many people around the track, that we might actually be in the safety car for another lap. Oh, we're not. We're not in the safety car for another lap. I wish it told me that.
Safety car is in this lap. Safety car is in this lap.
Oh, you tell me that now. So it's told me now that the safety car is in this lap. The safety car's already in. I saw the safety car go in, but yet we're still in a line. Maybe that's a glitch. I panicked for absolutely no reason then. Bloody hell. Right. Well, we're still going to have to push anyway, aren't we? So we're going to have to push on everything. We've got enough room to really push. Oh, are we racing? Oh, we're racing. So Norris, we are racing then. Okay. So Norris is overtaking Gasly and Alonso. I thought we weren't racing. We are racing. This has been a really weird restart, because it didn't look like we were racing. It looked like we were just following each other around. But we've gained 2 positions. Now we've got to gain some more. Is anyone else above us on softs? No one else above us is on softs. So it's all on how much room, how much places can Norris make up. Danny Rick's screwed over. He's got the fastest lap though. If Danny Rick can keep that, that'll be nice. That'll be a nice extra point for us. But we're literally on how many places can Lando Norris make up. And I'm not getting my hopes up to how many places, because currently we're watching Magnussen and Zhou battle it out, and Norris is the third wheel. But if the third wheel can kind of sneak his way around, that would be lovely. But that doesn't seem to be happening right now. We're going to try and overtake Magnussen. It looks like we're going to overtake Magnussen.
Yeah, confirm.
Which is good. There's yellow flags in Sector 1. I don't know what's going on here. As it looks like Norris is going to overtake Zhou. Alonso crashed. Alonso's behind us, though, so that doesn't really matter too much. But this is ridiculous. Lando Norris in 9th. Hopefully he can do something. There's been a lockup. I don't know who for. Hopefully it's someone up here that maybe we can try and close down. Hamilton ran wide, which doesn't really help us, but it might do. And it's literally right now.
Recharge off, please.
It's all on what we can do here. We're on these softs. We've got Leclerc in front of us. We've got Ocon in front of us. There's a train up to Russell. We've got 5 laps. If we can get up to 5th, that would be incredible. That's not going to happen, but that's the hope anyway. So, come on, Norris. Come on, Norris. Danny Rick, you do your own thing. Keep setting new fastest laps. That would be lovely. Norris, the focus is on you, mate. I'm not going to lie. Right, we're on the last lap. And not much is really happening. Ricciardo can't do anything. So, to be honest, we're just going to go neutral on everything with Ricciardo. Norris, however, is on his last lap. We're going to be pretty much eating these tyres into the ground. We are eating these tyres into the ground at this point. And we're losing ground with people. The only way we've got a chance here is by pushing. We're not gonna get any points. I can see it now. I can literally see it now. We've got to deploy. We've got to push for the last little bit of this race. This is literally it. This is literally it. I thought you were gonna get higher up than this, but no, you're not. So can you at least get a point? For the love of God, for my own sanity. I'm not feeling confident, people. I'm really not feeling confident. We are eating these tyres into the ground right now to try and make up any places. We are literally pushing on everything. We're trying on everything at this rate. We are losing ground massively. Oh my God. I swear to God if we get overtaken at the end. Right, so we got 10th. That's wonderful. I'm so glad. I'm so glad. I'm really looking forward to Sao Paulo. I think it's Sao Paulo, the last one. Or is it Abu Dhabi? Is it Abu Dhabi? This is Sao Paulo. I've lost my mind. I've lost it. I've completely lost it. My head's gone. My head's flown. As you can see, Norris made up 4 places. Ricciardo made up 3 places. Alita made up places. We got 1 point and we got a point as well for Daddy Rick getting fastest lap, which is lovely. Although it doesn't show that. So it shows fastest lap here. However, we haven't got a point for fastest lap. What do you mean we haven't? It's trying to tip me over the edge. It's really trying to tip me over the edge. Yeah, it hasn't given us a point for fastest lap. Hello? Are we here? No? Brilliant. Okay, cool. So glad. So happy. Right, so that was Sao Paulo for you. Really good race for us. So we're heading in to Abu Dhabi. Abu Dhabi, the final race of this season, the final race of the series. I was going to say the episode of the series. Next episode is just the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. We are finishing it and finishing the series off. I thought we might be in contention for 3rd. I think we're just hoping for points in the next episode, because after that shambolic performance, I wouldn't be surprised if we don't. But if you have enjoyed this annoying, frustrating episode, do make sure to hit that like button. Do comment down below. What am I doing wrong? Seriously, what am I doing wrong here? Give me some advice before the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. And if you're new here, please do subscribe so you do not miss that final episode. And I shall see all of you in the next video. See ya! How have I gone from like the highest of highs to the lowest of lows in like 2 or 3 races? That's ridiculous.